I try to record every session. So if you miss a class, did I tell you that in GE101? Oh yeah, we didn't have a mic in there, did we? So I couldn't do it. I try to record every class. So the recording captures both what's on screen and my voice. Doesn't always get what you say. So sometimes I'll try to repeat the question. Most of the time I forget, but I guess that's the penalty for not coming to class. You'll have to figure it out. But then when I screen capture with this, it also gets that. So you can get the gist of the day if you miss class, okay? And so we are recording now. And I'm starting with Blackboard. And I'm starting with how to get to Blackboard. So from the homepage, it's right here. Current students, Blackboard. And when you click on that, it goes to the login page. The login should be, what's the login? Student ID number, date of birth in some fancy format, right? All right. It's key that you can get in there. So if anyone has any trouble getting in there, I need to know, because the expectation is you're in there, you're functioning, things are happening, and things are. A lot of you did really good. You gave me an intro thing. I got to read about you. Then I replied with some creative comment and gave you 10 points for doing that. So you still got time to do it? Do it. You do it here in the submission area. Are you in, Frank? Yes, sir. Sweet. This is where you do it. Submission area. Organized by the weeks. All the classes are the same. Is that K? It is. It's my old dean. It's pretty fun when your old dean comes to visit you. Week by week. Day by day. This meets once a week, right? So that means we should have some online piece outside of this class. And I think I'll do it on Tuesdays. So kind of the same rhythm as ET120 if you have it. 120 is in person on Tuesday, going to be some online stuff on Thursday. This class will be in person on Thursday, some online stuff on Tuesday. Okay. If there's ever nothing there, hi guys. I bet you did. How's parking? Pretty bad. Yeah, sorry about that. But now you know. I literally just started because we were waiting for folks. So it's not just you. But I do want your name. Okay, Jordan. Nobody knows you, you know. Okay, Jordan, that's not your name, but that's what you want to be called. That is what I want. Okay. I'll try to do that. And then, oh, wait a second. That is your name. There's two of you. Really? You guys related? No, me and Tim. Sorry. I just noticed that. I was like, what? We have and you're Jacob. Yeah. We have other class, they always think like you're two. But you're not. Are you years apart? Yeah. Oh, cool. All right, welcome. You're in the right spot. GE115. I didn't today. I will start on time. So good luck with parking and figuring all that out. You'll figure it out. Yeah. If you're late though, just come in and see what's going on. If you're like, the problem with being late is if you're like 30 minutes late, you missed it all. Because that's about as long as I typically go in this class, right? Which is not, I mean, you just gotta like lean on somebody in this room to figure out what went down. So it's really important to be here in the beginning because that's when I do my thing. And then I just turn it to lab, in which a lot of you will exit, and that's fine. If you exit and then go home and want to work on it, that's great, but I'm not there to help. So in the beginning, I would say you probably won't need any help, but it's going to get more complicated. So then you get home and you get stuck and frustrated and you come back and say, that thing took me 9 hours. I'm like, shouldn't have. If you did it here, you could have done it in an hour because I would have helped you, right? So just think about that as things get more complicated, try to use your lab. And if nothing else, like draw with somebody else. That can really be helpful. you know, 2 people going after it is a good thing. All right, we're talking about Blackboard. Who has never seen Blackboard before, except for Frank? Everyone's got Blackboard kind of going? Okay. All right, so I set it up week by week. You click on the week, you should be able to see what's going on. You click on the calendar, you should be able to see just your calendar. So you won't see that one, you won't see that one. Should look something like that. And I'll try to keep it up to date. Assignments will be in the calendar. So the calendar can really be a pretty good guide. Like you don't necessarily have to go to all the other places. You can just go to the calendar and see what's assigned and what's going to be due. And then from that, you should be able to go chase it. Like here is our lab 1. It's called boxes. Can you see that? Yeah, it's called boxes. And it's due on the 5th. EOD stands for end of day. So 11:59, you can submit it on the 5th. I don't recommend that. It's probably not going to work, but yeah, you can. So everything is time delayed. I'll assign it today. It's not due till the 5th. But then Tuesday I'll assign something and it might be due in a couple days. So there's just really no rhythm to, you know, when things are exactly due. You just got to keep track of it. You got to look. This is the submission area. So this is where you'll go and submit. It's a discussion thread. We can all see each other's stuff, which I like. That's a good thing. You can go in and look at somebody else's drawing, and then you can look at your drawing, and then you can say, man, that other person's got it all wrong, mine's right, type of thing. Or you can look and say, oh, those look similar. I'm on the right track here. When you submit, you just attach a file. In this class, I'm going to want at the minimum 2 files per lab. I'm going to want an AutoCAD file, which is a DWG. So that's the extension on the end of the file, DWG. AutoCAD does it automatically. You don't have to put the DWG in, because then it'll just be DWG.DWG, right? You don't have to do that. It automatically does it. But I'm going to also want a PDF. And I'll show you how to do that. 2 things for every assignment. That makes sense? Why would I want that? Any ideas? Yeah. I can edit one of them, correct? Yep, there's another reason. Different kind of files, that's just double, you know, redundancy is a good thing. Markup. I don't really like, y'all want to cheat, go ahead. I don't care. Honestly, I'm not looking for it. I really don't. You're here to like learn a skill, right? So if you don't want to do that, I don't know why you're here, but yeah, but that is one reason. But that's not the primary reason. What if I am Alpine Contracting, which I am, right? And I produce some drawings and I'm working with a client, or I'm working with another engineering firm, and they need this drawing, right? And this drawing I spent a lot of time on, and it's worth a lot of money to me. I don't really just want to send them my drawing, because guess what? Then they got it. It's there. They can have it. If I send them a drawing, they can open it and do anything they want with it. I just did all my work and I gave it to them, right? But they need the drawing PDF, send it to them. They can do anything to a PDF. They can look at it and they can try to redraw it or whatever. If they want to do that, they won't do that, right? So it protects you, number one. People can't mess with your drawing or change it or do anything to it. The other thing is, what if they don't have AutoCAD? Send them an AutoCAD drawing and they're like, we can't open this. And then that, then it's time and energy trying to figure out like, oh, what do we do now, right? So what if they don't have the software, right? Then you send them a PDF. The other thing is, maybe a selfish reason, I can use my phone and look at your PDF and then grade it and then boom, right? I don't need to have AutoCAD open on my laptop at home to do grading. I can look at your PDF really fast. As we get more complicated drawings and start opening drawings up, and pretty soon the laptop goes, whoa, it starts slowing down, and it can take some time and energy. So there's a few different reasons to do it. All right. What else? It'd be a lot of talking today, sorry, because there's just a few things we want to straighten up. All right, submission areas here. So in AutoCAD, you can save as PDF. So I'll show you how to do that. You could always print the drawing at home and then use Cam Scanner to make a PDF. That's a lot of wasted resources because I don't need that printed drawing. So file names. Let's talk about file names, because I do want a specific format. So the name of, let's go. The name of today's lab is boxes. I think I called it Lab 1 boxes, right? But the descriptive name of it is boxes. So I'm going to try to help you here for your future. You don't want to name a file Lab 1. What is that? Who knows what that is? Maybe you do, but I'm guessing in 3 years, you don't know what Lab 1 is, right? So you'll be like, Lab 1 or floor plan or elevation. I don't know what that is. Like, kind of know what those drawings are, but I don't know what project that was, right? So if I was going to go like over the top, I would make you put in the name of the drawing. I'd put it maybe the date and year and maybe the class and then your name. And I could make you do 5 things easy. That's how I save at home in my projects. I have the project name. I have the year or date that I create the drawing. I have my name because I created it, because I get a lot of drawings from other people and I didn't create those, right? So the better you do this now, the better it's going to set you up in the future. Companies will have their save name system that you'll probably have to follow. But if you get any, and those will be horrible from my experience, like terrible. But some stuff you get to save yourself, and you have that, then you're going to have the opportunity to organize it. So in this class, I'm only going to make you use your last name. If you have a really long last name, you can shorten it, but really, come on, we can type. It's not that big a deal. And nowadays, computers don't care how long you make this thing. The lab name, I'm a dot guy. I don't care if you put a dot in. You know, I'm just like, oh, I can make them put week 1. Oh, I could, I'm not going to do any of that. But then the date. I do want the date. And that is the date you start the drawing, not the date you complete it. Typically, some people use complete date. Some people use, I don't really care which one you use, but I want a date so we can at least see the time of the term you did it. So for me, that would be 9/28/23 is how I would do it. Beyond that, I'm going to give you freedom to do whatever you want, but your name here is very important to me. That's how I organize files, is by last name. So I don't in Blackboard go one drawing at a time, because then I have all that interface with Blackboard moving from thread to thread and chaos. I have a little script that just goes into Blackboard and sucks your drawings out, right? And it'll just organize them for me, and then I can go through them. So your name in the beginning is big. Hopefully you don't forget, but you'll probably forget, and I'll just remind you. Hey, please get your name in there first. Good? It's rough if you all just do boxes and the date, because then I'm like, who is this? And then you don't put your name on the drawing inside CAD all the time, because we're not doing that yet. Actually, you will do that today, but you might leave it off, and then I just don't know. I have to like look and see who sent it and yada, yada, yada. Good? Any questions on that? File name save convention. All right. Where should you save it? to a flash drive. Good idea. Anybody else? To a folder where? Onto the desktop, maybe? And then into your email. I don't know that you can save straight to email. You can't. You got to save somewhere and then push it into, yeah. Desktop's a great spot, especially if your PC is running slow at all. Flash drive, it'll have to interact with the flash drive. Desktop is where I save to, and then I move it, huh?
So you get corrupted files.
On your desktop? Oh, that's true. Yeah. So what I do is I save to the desktop, right? If I was remote, then I email it to myself because now I have it in two spots, desktop and my email. Email is a great little storage thing. It's sitting there all the time. If I go to Frank's office, I can go into my email. I could pull that drawing up, right? And the third place I go to is OneDrive. I have cloud storage. 3 places, every file, 3 places. That makes sense? That will solve the, I lost my drawing that I just spent 14 hours on. Be like, how could you? Because you saved it in 3 places, right? 3 different places. It's easy to do. And I do it at the end of the session. Some people do it throughout the session. I don't. I just save to the desktop. Boom, boom, boom. When I'm done, bang, I email it to myself. I drop it onto OneDrive. Done. Of course, if I don't have access to OneDrive, I do that later. But okay, good. We solved that problem. How often should we save? These are great questions, don't you think? All the time. That's kind of random. That doesn't really tell me how often I should save. I like it, but all the time. Anytime you want to leave the program, that's good, unless you just did 8 hours on it. True, right? As often as you're willing to lose, and I'm willing to lose about 10 minutes worth of work. That's how much I'll lose. Day 1, we had a power hit. Like power went out in here. Boom. I was like, oh, too bad that didn't happen in my CAD class. I used to turn the power off at some point in the term, and I would warn you about that right now. At some point, I'm going to walk over to the power switch and hit the button and probably walk out of the room because people will be pissed off because they didn't save, right? So just save often. 10 minutes is my thing, you know, maybe 30 minutes, maybe something. If you work in here, I can just walk up behind you and you can walk up behind anybody and see if they've saved or not. Because AutoCAD, if you open an empty AutoCAD file, it calls itself drawing 1. So if I go File, New, and say Open, you'll see at the top, what's it called? Drawing 1. So if I walk up and then see a whole bunch of work and then at the top it says drawing 1, I'll be like, hasn't saved. Maybe I'll just push the button or something. I don't know. Save often. When you save, it's going to give it a name. Oh, I hate the grid. All right, good. We're clicking things off here. The syllabus is here. You can review it. It's in day 1 right here. I'll open it and just kind of scroll down to the grading so you can see how you're graded. Whoa, that was too far. Got COVID stuff in there still. There's the grading. So this says weekly graded problems. You can just think that everything we do in lab are going to be graded problems. I have the option to not grade something, but these are pretty easy to grade going through. I plan on grading everything. The only reason I wouldn't is if I got busy. I really don't have that many classes this term, so I shouldn't get busy. So I should be able to grade everything. You want me to grade everything because then that is going to help you do things right in the future, right? If you make a mistake or something's not right, you'll know what to fix for the next one. Okay. So labs, kind of the same category. So essentially 70% of your grade is just the stuff we do in class. Like, this is a skill class. We just want to get good at it, right? I'm not looking to take points away unless something's just totally off. Like when we get into orthographic projection, which we will, that's front, top, side. If you haven't had that before, front view, top view, side view, right? And there's a way to organize those, everything in projection. And then they're like little puzzles. We have to figure out where lines go and where lines are hidden and like that, right? There'll be mistakes in that. Like regular lines should be hidden, you know, that kind of stuff. You know, that's just practice. But like if the three views were actually not in projection, that just means you missed just a huge concept, right? So that's not good. I'll take points for that. So the big things I'm looking for that you should get if you were in class or watched the video lecture, those you should get. I'll take points for that. But the little stuff is just like, that's just practice. So I'm not looking to take points away. And in the end, you'll have a final project that's 30% of your grade. Okay. Any questions? How come you're not saying like, where's the midterm exam? We really want one of those. We don't want one of those. Where's the final exam? We want one of those. We don't need that. We just need to learn AutoCAD, really is what we need to do. What's the final project look like? Here's a couple of them. They are time sucks. These things take time. So you cannot pull this off the night before. It's not happening. So here's an example, and this is a realistic final project. Okay. What you're going to do is you're going to draw two-dimensionally flat draw something that then will get assembled into a three-dimensional thing. So all of this is made out of flat things, right? So that's just a flat piece. That's a flat piece. That's a flat piece, right? The wheels are actually flat pieces. They're just thick. You use thick plastic on this, right? So each one of these parts gets drawn individually. And you're the one that keeps track of the dimensions on it, so it all comes together and works, right? And we cut it out on the laser cutter at the end of the term, and you assemble it and learn where things aren't right, where they should be right. So this is definitely an A project, right? That's next level, and it came out really good, and the clearances are just spot on, perfect. And that's kind of what we want to. This is the A project too. It's just been dropped a few times. It is less spot on. You can see that connection there is definitely off. Something got modified, so this came together. These look pretty good. These look okay, but the clearances are nowhere near as good, right? Like standard engineer, maybe this human was like a machinist in another life, right? Spot on tight clearances here. So that's what we're looking for. Like, and I get all levels of projects that come in. So they're not all like next level, lots of time. This is probably 20 hours in CAD for a new student that's gone through this class. I mean, that's a lot of hours to figure out, you know. This is probably a little less time. I mean, they're a little just simpler geometries. This is a nice feature. I like this, right? So you define it to me. At some point in the term, I'm going to ask for a proposal. And I'm going to look at your proposal and go, yep, that's good. I'm going to look at it and go, that's a lot, you know. Be careful proposing that because I'm going to make you do it. And then I'll look at some of them and go, nah, we got to it's got to be more than a lunchbox. That's right. Can't just be a box that comes together. But it doesn't have to be. I mean, I really don't want it to be 20 hours of your life. I'd like it to be like 10 hours of CAD. Right. All right. And I could tell you about it now because I want you to start thinking about it. Because, you know, the earlier we can get that proposed, the more time in the term you're going to have to figure it out. All right. Any questions on this? We're good? Yeah. All right. My grades. When you click in there, oh, I did want to show you this. This is me. So I'm a fake student in this class. In the My Grades area, you can see that there's assignments that show up. And then you can see that there's grades that show up. Right? And if there's no grade, that just means it has not been graded yet. We know that from the other class if you were in the class. Here's a grade that has been put in, and then that's a comment. Okay? If you got 10 out of 10, that's probably just my comment saying nice job, or something of that, a good job, you know, great effort, whatever. Some positive reinforcement because I really appreciate you turning stuff in. Correct, right? But if you got like 5 out of 10, you want to look at the comment to see what you did wrong. That is your feedback, right? Look at the comment if you didn't get all the points. So then you don't do the same thing again and again and again. If you're not looking at the comments, you're not getting the feedback. If you get 10 out of 10, you probably don't need to look at the comment. The way you do is you just click on it. Good story, stick to it. I think I just made something up. Oh, this was the install. Okay. Good. All right. Please look at the comments if you're missing points. Calendar, quiz and exams. We're not having those, so I'll probably get rid of that. All right. I think we're good. We are zooming. I am recording. All right. I think we should start talking about AutoCAD a little bit. Several of you installed successfully, and you installed on a Mac, and some has installed on Windows version. So I know both are working. Keep in mind, I don't install. I don't have to. I use this, I got that, and I got tech support that does it all for me. So I'm really not a lot of help if you're having install problems. Your help is here in the room. So if you're a Mac and you can't install, I know there's several Macs that have installed it. If you're a Windows and you can't install for some reason, there's a lot of Windows people probably that have installed just fine. So I would say work with each other, like, and we'll get some time today when I'm done talking. But yeah, that's one of your first assignments, right? Is to get that done. And then you're supposed to let me know. I think I closed the class. Did I? Yeah. Anyway, that's one of your assignments. So get that done. I'm going to talk about just basics of AutoCAD and then kind of let you just wrestle with this first little exercise. I'll talk about that. It's hard to lecture AutoCAD when everyone doesn't have it in front of them, right? Once you get it and get it operating, you're going to want to bring your laptop with you, or you're going to want to fire one of these stations up, because I do a lot of like follow the leader stuff in the beginning. Because I mean, I could cover 30 minutes of AutoCAD right now, but you're going to be like just looking at a screen and not interacting with it. I guess the good part of that is it's being recorded. You could get home, watch the recording, and then follow along. That would work, right? But I'm not going very deep into stuff today at all. We're going to keep it super simple. But I'm going to cover a few things, so you're going to have to somehow capture the information or just rely on the recording afterwards. Okay? All right. In AutoCAD, when you come into AutoCAD, here, maybe I'll do that. I'll just close it out. No saving. Nope, don't want to save it. In here, it's in a folder. It says AutoCAD. So if you fire any of these up, that's where you'll find it, in a folder. It won't be as polluted as my desktop, but you'll be able to find it. There's also 3 stations in the main computer lab that runs AutoCAD. So if this lab is closed and you're like, oh, I got some time between class, I want to run AutoCAD. Main computer lab, which is like 2 wings down on this level, has 3 stations with AutoCAD. If you had saved your work to a cloud storage or a flash drive, you'd be able to pull it up and work on it in there. think the library is supposed to have one station. I haven't checked that. So you have other stations. We're running 22. So when you download 22. Yeah. See if you can. So the problem with 24 is if I'm running 22, I can't open it. Right? Because you're a future version. I can send you my 22 and you can open it, but then it's going to flip it to 24. And then you try to send it back to me, I can't open it. Often AutoCAD's pretty good. SolidWorks, way bad. There is no migration feature whatsoever with SolidWorks. You are screwed. AutoCAD allows you to save down versions. So see if you can save down to 22 from 24. I haven't tried it, but I can look. I think I have 24 somewhere. Anyway, when you fire AutoCAD up, and this is where the class starts, like we're starting from like opening the software. That's the plan. You get into this file management window. This is not a drawing window. This is like look for files. It's going to look for open files, files that have been opened in the past. It's going to look for folders that had files. So this is all what it sees, right? There's a bath layout. That's a project I did this summer. Bathrooms are big right now, I guess. There's your little lab you're going to do, right? So obviously if one of these drawings is what you want, you just click on it and it would open it, right? And then there's new here for a new file, right? So I could go and look at different templates to draw with, okay? So let's talk about that just briefly. We will get into making templates later in the term, but we need to know enough about templates that we can use them if we need them. Templates set up AutoCAD's brain essentially on what it's thinking unit-wise, and not like precision of unit, but what kind of unit? Are we thinking about inches and the US system, or are we thinking about metric and the metric system? It's going to think with you as long as we choose the correct template. The regular ACAD template, that one is inches, regular old inches, US, okay? So if I click on that, then it's going to think in inches. And we can make it think in feet, but it's that unit, right? It's the US system. Good. If we want to think in the metric system, then that is the next one. It is the ACAD ISO, International Systems Organization, maybe? I don't know what the O stands for, ISO. It's metric. In other words, it's going to think in millimeters, the tiniest thing, okay? It's not entirely simple to switch it once you've drawn. So if you put 4 hours in drawing in inches and you were drawn in millimeters, you have a very small little object, right? You thought it was 34 inches, now it's 34 millimeters. Yes, we can scale it, but it doesn't change its brain. Now it's thinking 344 millimeters instead of 34 millimeters or something, right? So it's not entirely simple to switch units after you start. You want to get that right in the beginning. We're going to be in inches quite a bit. So I'm going to choose that first one. And then it opens your drawing space. Okay. Good. This is your drawing area. These are your palettes: draw palette, modify palette, annotation palette, layers palette, blocks, properties, groups, utilities, clipboard, view. What's all that mean? Most of it, I don't know, because you don't use most of it, right? There is there's probably 44 versions of AutoCAD within AutoCAD. AutoCAD, double-edged sword. It's really cool that it keeps everything from the past. So like I learned on V1 and all of those are still available. I can drive it like I'm on V1. So the problem with that is there's like 20, 40 different ways to do one thing. It's like, why is there so many ways to do one thing? So I'm going to show you one way, maybe two, but there's going to be a number of other ways to do it, and you'll find them. I know you will. I've been through this. It's fine. Do it any way you want. I'm not advocating a way. I'm just going to show you one or two ways, and then you'll go, and you'll be like, oh, Donaldson, don't you know you can right click and do a whole bunch of stuff there? I'm like, yeah, but I'm just not a right clicker. That's not what I do. Right? So there's a lot of ways to do it. There's no one right way. Do it any way you want. I don't care. Does that sound good? Some are going to be button drivers, like, wow, I'm going to go up here and I'm going to find the right button. And then every little triangle, there's other things under it. Like, see that little triangle under arc? There's like, oh, look at that. There's all these different ways to draw an arc. Wow, okay. I don't know, like, I can kind of figure them out, but yeah, I don't drive it that way. There's the line command here, but you can also just go and type in L, and this is called the command line. And when I type in L, it's going to give me a bunch of commands. This is going to like fire them up, right? And I know where they're going to be. They're going to be right here. Up there, I don't really know where everything is, right? I know where the basics are, but beyond that, I'm like, oh boy, I don't know. And then I could click on this to do it, but I can also just hit enter because it's the one that's chosen. So L enter is the line command, right? You can do the same thing. I just hit escape and just click on that. And that's the line command. So there's two ways to do the line command, right? And then every command's that way. There's at least lots of ways to do it. All right, getting rid of the grid. Down here are some quick buttons. These just turn things on and off. Right here. On and off. The grid was right there. The grid's annoying. I don't like it. You might like it. Leave it on, right? I turn it off because I just like a clean drawing space. All right. Zooming is the roller mouse, and I need to put a line on just so you can kind of see what happens. So on the mouse, the roller mouse is zoom, right? And it has to do with where your cursor is. So if your cursor's over here, that's the zoom focal point. I'm going in and out with the roller. See how that works? Students will go like that and go, oh, I just lost my drawing. No, you just roller moused it right off the screen. That's what you did. Okay. Some of you will drive this thing without a mouse. I can't help you. That's crazy stuff. But I've seen students do it. See Mac people do it, drive the software without a mouse. Like, wow, that's impressive. But I use a mouse. So I'm going to show you the mouse stuff, right? If you put your cursor on the object, then you'll zoom that object. That makes sense? So it's very cursor dependent. If I want to move it over like there, then I can put it over here and go roller mouse here, right? Holding the roller mouse down like a button is pan. That moves it around. I'm holding the roller mouse down like a button. Pan. Simple things to get around. That's really important because you're going to want to not work on your object like that. You're going to think you got a spot and you didn't get that spot because you're zoomed out. You're a mile away from it, right? We have a very powerful software that allows me to go in, hook up to things, and make sure if I roll our mouse back far enough, I can't even see that line that I drew, right? I don't see it. I kind of see it, right? Or if I try to hook up to this thing here, I have a no snap on. That looks not good, but I can roll our mouse back far enough where it looks connected. All right, you get the point. But if I'm going to help you and you have a question and I come up and I see this, I'm going to be like, zoom in. I can't even see what you've done, right? And then we'll zoom in and then we'll see that. And you'll go, I didn't know that was there. I'm like, well, zoom in. Like use the power of the software, work in close, get in close. If you got geometries going on and you want to see what's going on, you don't want to look at it from here. Right? And if we're drawing big things, this is the problem, right? Because we draw everything 1-to-1. We don't scale anything. 1-to-1, real size. If I'm going to draw a building, it's going to be 84 feet by 24 feet by 10 feet with a big old roof. That's how big I draw it in here. Well, then if I want to put like, I'll vent this big in, it's going to look like a dot on the drawing if I'm zoomed back. I got to zoom in to see what's going on, to see where the mistakes are. Guess what I do when I open your drawing? I do this. Oh, how's that connection going right there? That looks pretty good. I can just pan around. I can go back. Look at the, maybe there's connection features here. You can get way in. You can see all kinds of geometry. I can see any mistake that's made. I'm just moving this in closer and closer, not getting it too close. I'm pretty in there close right now. So when you turn in, it looks like that. And you're like, man, I'm pro. I got this thing down, right? And so I just go and start looking at areas. And I have other ways to do it too, because if I choose objects, I get multiple boxes that show up these endpoints, right? So here, yeah, all right, you get it. Zoom in, be accurate, be super accurate. You're a bunch of engineers. Don't let me down. Questions? It's so quiet. Like, I don't know, there's no other way to get started than this, right? I'm going to show you just how to draw some basic lines, and that's going to be your starting point. You have a pretty simple drawing to make. I'm going to show it. It's this thing. It's the boxes. And then, of course, saving. So saving is up at the red A if you want to see a menu. There's also quick save buttons. And if you mouse over them and just slow down, it'll tell you what the icon is. Yeah. Yeah, probably. That is one thing I haven't done. Save, and then, yeah, save as comes up. You could choose it right there. Yeah. I do use the buttons once I get the file name set up. So right now, if I just hit this one, what's it going to do? It's going to save it as drawing 1. It's not delightful, right? If I click this button, then it's going to give me the opportunity to name it. That's what save as means. Name it, right? If I go here to the red A, I get some other options like export to PDF. We talked about that. So you cannot save straight to PDF. I don't know why. AutoCAD just hasn't gone on board with that, I guess. But you export to PDF. All right, I'm okay with that. But if we go save as, then we get our little save as dialog box. Most of us are familiar with this. The important thing is location. Where do you want to go? That's right here. So me, I would go to the desktop because it's so clean. Not really. And then down here to name it. And like I said, you do not need to put the DWG in, right? You just give it a file name, hit save. And boom, it's done. Gets it saved. Okay. All right. Basic drawing. We want to be super accurate with our drawing. So there's a couple of things you need going. This box right down here, if it's not going, You want it going. This little one right here, they're called object snaps. Object snap. They grab things on objects. So like lines, they'll grab the end of lines. That is your perfect connection, right? Should be on all the time. Sometimes it gets annoying because you don't want the end of a line sometimes, right? And it's going to snap to it and you're like, oh, I didn't want that. But it should be on. So then it allows me to draw, to stop drawing. And now I want to connect back up to that line. I go line enter and you'll see a box show up. That means that the endpoint object snap is on. I think that's default, but it might not be. So that you got to know how to like turn it on. And there's a little triangle right next to that object snap. Now these are other snaps. So, you know, you can explore them if you want, but I wouldn't go monkeying around with too much. You're going to start to get some weird things going on. And that's like the whole software. If you don't know the software, I would not just start exploring and clicking things. Because then at some point you're going to want me to help. And I'm going to say, what have you done? And you're going to be like, oh, I've done a lot. I'm like, oh, I was never going to find what you've done. Anyway, a little triangle right next to that shows you the list. And it also will show you which ones are on and off. So endpoints on, midpoints on, centers on, quadrants on, intersections on, tangents on. Okay. If I wanted node, I'd have to turn it on, or insertion point, or perpendicular. That one's pretty common. I use that a lot. I'd have to turn it on. It's not on, right? All right. So that means I should be able to mouse over and find the midpoint. That's a triangle. Endpoint is a box. I know they're on because they're showing up and I'm not doing anything. I'm not clicking, I'm just mousing over things. So if I wanted the midpoint, I can grab it and draw. Okay, that's how we get exact points, and that's what we want to do. All right, how do we draw exact distances? There's a lot of different ways. A lot. I'm going to show you one way, a very simple way. I call it just aim and shoot. Just aim and shoot. Aim and distance. Aim and distance. So when you do the line command, it's going to ask you for the first point. If you've never run AutoCAD, run it slow. Like take a breath. Don't have 6 cups of coffee and then run it. Just relax and read what it's doing. Like it's asking you questions. It's either asking you questions here or it's asking you questions here. It is trying to communicate with you. You must then try to communicate with it. Read your command line. This is called the command line. Read it. What's it want? It wants the first point. You can give it a first point a lot of different ways. Most of the time we just use the mouse. And we pick a point. And I like, whenever I do that, I always want to move my mouse because I just want to see what happens. If you don't move your mouse, it looks like that. It's like, what happened? I don't even know. Did something happen? I don't know. I move my mouse and I go, oh, I started a line, right? And now what's it asking? Next point. Because you can go next, 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 right? So it's not second point. It's this next point, and it's going to stay in this mode. If I just click the button, I just make lines, right? It just next point, next point, next point, next point. Well, that's not drawing. We don't want that. So first point, this should be on. The green line, see the green line? That's horizontal. If that shows up, that's horizontal, and that's this thing right here. That's called polar tracking, angular tracking, right? I should be able to go vertical too. Boom, it shows up. Again, if I slow down, I'll see this. Every 90 degrees, right? Everyone see that? So aim by getting that polar tracking going. Just I'm aiming now to the right. And look what's highlighted. The distance is highlighted and it's blue, like it's highlighted, like any software that gives you some information highlighted, all you gotta do is type and it's gonna replace it. You don't have to click there. I don't want you to have extra clicks. I want you to be efficient and fast. We want to draw fast in the end, not in the beginning. Let's just go slow, right? Just slow down. But if I wanted to go 2 units and I started with that template that is thinking inches. So that's 2 inches. I don't have to give it inches, symbol or anything. It's thinking inches. So I literally just type 2. You do have to hit enter because CAD doesn't know when you're done inputting. So you always have to hit enter no matter what you input. If I type in L, I can't just wait. I have to hit enter. Like, I'm done typing, do something. I'm done with my distance, do something. Did it do something? I think so, but I moved my mouse around just to see what happened, right? And it did. Aim and shoot. It's super simple. I'm aiming straight up. I type in 2, I hit enter. I'm aiming to the left. I type in 2, I hit enter. I'm aiming down. I type 2 and hit enter. And I just drew a 2-inch by 2-inch box. Good. That's as complicated as we're going to get. Now, what if something goes wrong, right? And I go 2.3 by accident. That's a mistake, right? And I'm either going to catch it now or I'm going to catch it when I come all the way around. So maybe I keep going and I go 2 and 2 and 2. And I end up with that. It's like, oh, dang it. There's all kinds of editing things. I'm not going to go there, right? You can go there if you want. But what I want you to do is just try it again, because repetition is a good thing, right? If you make a mistake, try it again. There is an undo command or a undo button. It's right here. See it? A little backwards arrow, just like all the softwares. If I hit that, it's going to take away the full last command that you did. Right? It'll just take it away and you get to try it again. Just undo it. Yes, there's an erase command. Yes, there's a trim command, all kinds of things, but I'm just going to show you little things. If you make a mistake when you're drawing and you go 2.3 and then you realize it right there, you can undo that within the command. In other words, if I go and hit the button, it's going to undo that and I can try it again. So here, I'll do it a little further along. 2 and then 2.3. All right, that's my mistake. I should be able to, is this going to take the whole thing? It must be different than the U button. Still takes it all the way. Thought you could do it like piece by piece. Questions? Yeah. Of different portions of the object. So yeah, good question. So inside a command, the software works different than outside commands. So I'm outside command, and you should know when you're either one. So if I type in line and now I'm here, I'm clearly inside a command. Got something in the command line, it's asking me questions, right? So my object snaps are working, they all show up. Yep, this is all good. I can get midpoint of all that stuff. If I hit escape, and that's how you get out of a command, now I don't get them. That was your question? Yeah, I don't get them. As soon as you go back into a command, you'll get them. Okay, now we have other things, like if I select this, I got grips. They're a little different than object snaps. These are called grips. You can do some modifying with them though. Like I could grab that grip and go like that with it. Well, that's cool. It's not very technical because I don't know how far I moved it. I don't know how long my line is now. So we're not into just drawing really cool stuff. We're into drawing stuff that is 100% accurate. Exactly what I want it to be, because it's a software. Like it can do it, and that's what we want to do. So we have to learn how to control it. Like draw slow, learn how to 100% control it. That's what we want. Questions? All right, so yeah, there's so much. I just want to keep showing you stuff. There is a lot. Like The selection process, I can choose with this cursor. It's called the pick button, that little rectangle. It's got to be on it. It can't be off to the side. Like I got nothing there, right? It's got to be on it, and then it kind of highlights it, and then I can pick it. So that's your pick box. That's what it's called, pick box. The other selection methods you have are windows. I can make the blue window by clicking in the upper left of a region and moving down to the right. I'll hit escape, down to the right, blue window. That's the all-in window. If you're going to select using this method, it's got to be entirely in the window. Super handy because you can like extract stuff out of your drawing without using the dumb pick box, which I am no good with the pick box after 6 cups of coffee. I just can't get it, right? It's just too shaky or whatever. The all-in window can pick things out, and it's fast. Like, you know, if I want this thing, there's this, go to it and pick, or there's just this, right? I can just enclose it and grab it. The crossing window is from the upper right down left, and that is going to choose everything in the window and everything you cross. So these are selection methods. And a lot of commands require you to select objects. Erase, select objects. Copy, select objects. Move, select objects. You know, all these modifying commands, select objects. So you got to select them, and then usually you got to hit enter. Like if I'm going to run erase, that was the E button. Select it. It doesn't know I'm done until I hit enter. Doesn't know I'm done. Hit enter. Now it does it. And you just erase part of your drawing. And then you freak out and go, oh my God, I didn't mean to do that. I'm going to undo that. It comes back. Yep. Spacebar is your enter key, and it brings back the last command. So the last command I did was undo. Enter the number of operations to undo. So it pulled it back just by tapping the spacebar. If I go E, or if I go copy, that's probably the one that's most common for me. If I'm going to do a series of a lot of copies, right, then I'm going to do that copy. And then I want to do it again. I just hit the space bar, brings back the last command. Believe right click loads them also. So right click, repeat copy. But in my mind, that's 2 steps. I had to right click, and now I had to have to go there and repeat copy. So if you're looking for efficiency, spacebar just brings that last command back much faster. If you're talking about running a software for 6 hours, these kind of maneuvers make a big difference, right? You'll get more efficient at it. All right, let's say we're done. We have made our drawing. You're going to do your save. You all know how to do that now, your save convention. If you're going to make your PDF, that is a little different. So the PDF, you'll want to go to the red A and export to PDF. Okay. And there's some maneuvers to it. So you're going to name it, and it's going to give you the name that you use to make the drawing, and it's going to tag it with PDF for you. So that's easy. Export PDF. It already names it for me. It probably even, you know, knows where to save it. But when you hit save, it does that. It does the current view. I wish we could like make it select objects or something, but it does a current view. It looks terrible. It's going to be this little PDF thing. So you want to like get your view big, as big as you can get it on screen, and it'll make your PDF a little better. But you don't want to like, oh, I'm done. I'm going to save my drawing and I'm going to export to PDF and then do that, because I can't see most of it, and it won't be in the PDF if you can't see it. So, you know, you're going to want to get your zoom just right and then create your PDF. And that'll take some practice. Okay. All right, that's enough. You're armed and dangerous, and we'll see how far we get. This is your exercise. No dimensions. We are not dimensioning yet, but I got to give them to you or you don't know how big to draw stuff, right? So that'll happen for a while where there'll be dimensions on objects. And you'll use them to draw, but then don't dimension it. Don't put them on there yet because there's a bunch of maneuvers we need to think about before we do any dimensioning. Okay. It's 4 boxes. And I don't know why I left that dimension off, but that's life. This box is 4 by 4, 3 by 3, 2 by 2, 5 by 5. Okay. And then I have a 8.5 by 11 rectangle border is what I did. That's it. That's where you're done. So I want you to draw the boxes with the line command. There is a rectangle command that you could use to draw the boxes. You can play with that if you want, but I'd like you to do it with lines first and then go from there. Okay. A little bit of planning to get things in the right spot, or you can learn the move command and play around with move. Questions? Absolutely. We can fire up computers. You can do it right in here, right now, if you want. I am done. Unless there's a question, burning question. All right, we're good.